All right, we are back from our little break, and we're here for another double feature of the relaunch. And this time, we have episode 2 of The Falcon and Winter Soldier. Now, I love this show. I don't really know what else to say about it. Other than I love it, and so, in like the broad sense, of course. There's a lot to say about it, but just like I really enjoy it. I know some people have kind of been saying they're not as invested in it for whatever reason, but I'm all in. Why aren't you invested in it?
Well, I noticed that, particularly with honestly this show, that for the most part, when it comes to the MCU, I've just been enjoying it because it has been quality comic book stuff. But like none of my faves have really appeared outside of like Carol. And on my like favorite list, she's not that high. Like so she's been the only one I've been like super enjoying, but like for the most part, I've just been along for the ride, just enjoying it because like it is good content and it is good like translations of these characters on screen and all that kind of stuff. But like, I'm not that.
You don't really like nobody.
Right. I don't really like nobody. So I'm just like, okay, this is cool. I guess,
that's valid. That's valid. So honestly, I'm kind of the same way. Like the Captain America corner of the MCU has been like fantastic for me. I'm a huge like Cap fan. Obviously, Sam, Steve, Natasha, like all of those people, like that's my jam. But everything else has I will say now that I've gone back like over the last year or two or so and like gotten more into Thor and like Asgard comics as a whole. Now when I go back and watch Thor movies, I appreciate them a lot more, I guess, because like I actually get where the reference is coming from.
Yeah.
But everyone else, it's kind of like my going back and finding out that I love Star-Lord and like discovering that has actually made me dislike the Guardians films more.
That happens. That happens sometimes. You have different realizations when you read comic books, and
it just reminds me that I really do not enjoy those interpretations. But this is like absolutely my thing. This episode in particular was really great for me. I think the last time we spoke about it, in episode 1, we had the mention of Torres, the Agent Torres, who's been helping Sam out, and like I reminded folks, if they didn't know, that he's actually the Falcon in the comics when Sam becomes Captain America. And this episode was great because we just introduced like a bunch more characters. We got Lamar Hoskins, who is the hero known as Battlestar, and like he was not someone I was expecting to see at all.
Okay, I had no idea that's who he was.
What do you mean? Like,
I don't even know who the fuck a Battlestar is. But okay.
Battlestar was like another Star-Spangled Hero. He has like these like blue pants and like this white star on his shirt. He used to be a wrestler with D-Man. And
I know D-Man. Okay.
Yeah, of course that's horrible. But it was there's actually
like a joke, right? Isn't D-Man like a joke? Like
a little bit, but like they kind of legitimized him a little bit. He was actually a supporting character of Sam during his tenure as Captain America as well. So I'm actually kind of hopeful that he's going to show up in this series in some form or fashion. And there's an issue where D-Man like goes back to the wrestling ring and he's fighting Battlestar.
Okay.
So it was like really nice to see him.
Battlestar is kind of cool.
He's a cool guy. Like the name is fun. He's
is he black?
He's black. He's black. So this was the other thing that I realized about watching this episode: how many black characters have actually like been along the lines of that Captain America Star-Spangled Hero type. Like there's a few of them.
Yeah. Like Bradley, both of them, and now Battlestar. I have no idea. Okay.
So that was like super interesting to see. I really love. So my thing is the villains, the Flag Smashers. I don't know if we're actually supposed to be rooting against them because
I mean they haven't really said anything wrong.
So that's really interesting. I thought this episode was like kind of interesting though because it showed that Sam and Bucky don't necessarily disagree with everything. But so like I'm kind of hoping that we'll find a way to get to help them in some way, form or fashion. That would be really interesting. I think it'll be a big part of Sam and his like arc into Captain America. Again, Wyatt Russell as U.S. Agent Captain America right now, fantastic. I hate him. Like,
Yeah.
hate him. Like,
I saw some interviews with him where he talked about that one of his earlier roles that he ever auditioned for was for actual Captain America. That
no, wow.
that Chris Evans ended up getting. He also
Okay.
auditioned for that. So it's interesting that like he kind of had that like full circle moment now where he ends up being U.S. agent, and he talked about that. They asked him how he feels about portraying U.S. agent, and he said, "If I get people to hate me, I did my job right." And I was like, "Oh, that's
Yes.
great coming from the actor." He was like, "I want like if you guys look at me and you don't like me, that means I'm doing a good job." So
Yeah, like absolutely, he's doing a perfect job of that. There's like a smugness to his character that you just like cannot help but despise, and it's like even if you are like,
but you've experienced it before, so that's what makes it like.
yeah, it's just like, and so it's like I don't know if you've ever had like a conversation with a man, and I mean,
Fortunately.
when I say have a conversation with a man, I mean just like really listen to what a man has said, and you'll like realize how much ego and like competition and smugness is really there, and how it's just kind of like haughty and like holier than thou. It's like I'm better than you. And it's just like, why do you think any of that? And then it's like, how dare you actually have the audacity to believe it so that you can talk to me like this?
Exactly. Where did it come from?
It's just like, no. And so he does that really well. And so I love the way, like, every time he says something to Bucky and Sam, they just kind of looked at him like, no, like, we don't like you. Loving everything that they are doing with Bucky and Sam in their relationship.
Yeah.
I won't lie, I'm not always 100% a fan of Mackie's portrayal of Sam. I do think.
Well, you're the Falcon fan, so
Yeah.
so I would take your word for it. I have no idea if he's like doing this correctly.
I mean,
like bringing forth the Sam.
I think he's fine. Like, I think in the way that he portrays Sam is like great. I just think it's a little irritating. Like sometimes, like when he jokes about certain things, it's like, all right, calm down. Like you don't need to do that. He makes just some expensive Bucky. And it's like I get it. They're trying to build this little like brotherly love, banter
like
relationship between them, but it's also like people are dying.
Mm-hmm.
Like people are dying. Calm down. Like, you're hitting the game here. So that was something really interesting to see. Overall, I think the big part of this episode, of course, is when Bucky takes Sam to Isaiah Bradley's house. And for those who don't know, Isaiah Bradley is a character in the comics who also was Captain America, and he was experimented on in prison, and so like his whole tenure as Captain America has actually been like a huge secret, and it's like this big scandalized thing. His son, and is Eli his grandson or his nephew?
Eli is his grandson. Yeah.
Grandson.
Eli's grandson. Yeah.
The son and his grandson, they kind of go on to follow his footsteps a little bit, like in their own monikers as Josiah X and Patriot. And so, do you think that was supposed to be Josiah or Patriot or Eli who opened the door?
Okay, I couldn't tell. I had a feeling that was supposed to be Eli that opened the door. I wish they would have. I don't know.
Him?
Yeah, I wish Isaiah would in the background said like Eli, who is it, or something that would have like didn't name.
Because I was like, because when he said it, he was like, "Oh, get Isaiah." And I was like, "Where are they at?" I was like, "Why are they at this house?" And I was like, "Wait, he said Isaiah." I was like, "I know an Isaiah, don't I?" And I was like, "Oh wait, Isaiah Bradley." And so then they get in there and they have the big scene. And the actor who portrays him, Carl Lumley, is his name. He actually has like a really strong voice acting background.
Oh, okay.
So, he's done a couple of things. He was in Batman Beyond.
Oh.
He did a voice on Static Shock. The biggest one. He was Martian Manhunter's voice actor on Justice.
Oh snap! Oh shit! Okay. Wow. Okay.
I was like, there's like a really big one I'm forgetting. Like he was a Martian Manhunter for like the longest time. So I thought like seeing him again was like really cool. The hurt that he portrayed. The scene of just kind of coming to terms again, being reminded of all the things that happened to him in prison, the anger and kind of like contempt that Sam portrayed after they left the house, and he was just like, how could nobody tell me this guy existed? Like, how did nobody mention this to me? That was very real. And then the scene directly after that where the cops come.
This entire scene was just like insane. And I had talked about this before in the last episode where I felt like, WandaVision was grief, whereas I felt like this one was going to be a lot more about like racial things that would go on. And I was afraid that they would not go there. Or I was also afraid that the whole Isaiah Bradley thing was just a rumor, because at that before it actually appears in the MCU, everything is just a rumor, before it's like confirmed. So I was afraid that they weren't going to do that, but I really appreciated the way that they did this and the way that they tied it into Bucky in like the MCU version of all of this, I guess you could say, versus the comic books where Isaiah also just received the superhero soul serum, which was also received by Bucky, and how his mission was to go after and come and bring Bucky back or whatever. That was really cool. And just the entire like impact of it all on Sam, like leaving, and he was like, I felt like, why didn't anybody ever tell me this? And Bucky was like, I never even told like Cap about this.
Yeah. And it was like, because it just hits him like that much harder that, I gave the shield up. And now I gave the shield up and they gave it to this white man.
Right. And then when they're getting ready to go into their cars and they get pulled over by these police officers, I am always like weary of those kind of scenes because of like the emotions, everything that they kind of bring back. And they also aren't always done well. Sometimes they're very heavy-handed in a lot of these like very police brutality kind of moments that appear in shows and stuff. But for me in this one, it felt more authentic and it fit their whole like universe or whatever, because like the cop pulling them over and they've got like all the smoke for Sam
and none for Bucky. Is he bothering you?
Bucky. It's right. That was wild. I was like, is he bothering you? As if not only as if like Sam should be the one bothering Bucky. Sam is Falcon. Okay. How y'all don't know him, but you are okay with like thinking that this white man he's fine, or like he's like in the green or whatever. We need to chastise this black man, even though the black man is fucking Falcon. The white dude to y'all should just be some random white man.
Okay. And it was like, and I love the fact that when the other cop like reminded him, he was like, even when Bucky said it, he was like, do you know who this is? And the cop reminded him, was like, that's Sam Wilson, the Falcon. The guy was just like, oh, sorry, I didn't realize who you were. And it's just like, even if you did realize who he was, why were you like, what was the point? Why was he the one who you had to come and get the smoke with? If he wasn't Sam Wilson, the Falcon, and he was just like some random guy, you still shouldn't be bumping up on him with this.
Exactly. Then what would you have done? I would have had to make sure that this white man next to me gave you the okay that I should exist. That's wild.
Yeah. So I thought that was like really. I won't lie. I like tensed up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a little bit of PTSD just from life now. Things like that. And like you said, I think it can tend to be very overhanded and just not something you want to see. And again, being a Sam fan, having read his tenure as Captain America and like kind of seeing the police brutality stuff play out, that was happening very much so in the real world at the time and falling over into the comics, knowing it was all going to come, then still seeing it anyway and still just being like, oh my God, I don't know what's about to happen. It's just like, yeah, but I walked away like feeling okay with it. I was like, well done. We got
very well acted too.
Very well acted. Again, like I don't really agree with all of the choices that Mackie makes as Sam, but he hit that. He did that.
Bucky's been doing great in these scenes. Sebastian Stan, I think that he's been pretty good in this series.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I'm really excited for the MCU television just all the series as a whole, because it's going to be such a better deep dive into the actors and like their actual acting ability and what they can do. Obviously we saw it in WandaVision a ton with Elizabeth Olsen, Catherine Hahn, Paul Bettany, and I'm really glad that Sam and Sebastian are getting that chance too. Or Sam, Anthony and Sebastian.
So how did you feel about the ending of this, where it goes towards they like, the Flag Smashers are trying to escape with this medicine or whatever they've been trying to get, and the Power Broker men are trying to come after them, and they ended up escaping or whatever, and now Sam and Bucky now have to like go to this random like therapy session in the middle of the therapy session. Was cute. It didn't make sense in my opinion.
It was a little awkward because it was like, you go in here.
Yeah, and like all of a sudden you guys are leaving jail, and it's, hey, we have a therapy session right now. Like, what, girl?
Yeah, that don't make sense. Well, that was why he went to jail, because he had missed his therapy session.
Right, but I mean, like, why schedule to have it right then and there? Like, we can't say like, next week at 7.
I think she was just annoyed at that point. She was like, let's get this done. But no, I like the therapy session. I liked it more for Bucky than I did for Sam.
Same, me too.
Just because I feel like we kind of needed that for Bucky. We can already assume and figure out why Sam is upset, what's kind of going through his mind, like, especially for like someone like you and I. We are black men, like we understand it already. Yeah. I think there's been a kind of a big question about Bucky that was like, where exactly is his head at? And like, if he is upset about Sam giving up the shield, why is it? Like, is it because he wanted it? Is it just because of whatever reason? So it was nice that he kind of got to explain that bit and give his piece. I like that they still walked out together.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, get it out their system, and it's like we still got a job to do. I love that they are about to go back and try and get Zemo now.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting them to like go back and like work with Zemo, I guess, to like get this information. I keep expecting Zemo to. I thought he was going to be the antagonist for this whole show, but who knows? Maybe he ends up joining with them.
I don't see that
happening. What do you think is going to happen with Zemo?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that like they'll go to him for some type of information. They'll work with him in some form or fashion. But it's Zemo. He like hates them. He's going to either try and turn on them some type of way. I do hope that he gets free, so that way we can like free him up for the MCU in the future. Zemo is probably one of my favorite MCU villains.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I think he was like extremely well done in the movie. The character arc, I'm super excited to see him again. I like the actor who plays him. Like, yeah, I'm all about it.
Mm-hmm. I need Zemo because I need Wonder Man.
Oh, it's like so weird to me how Wonder Man has all these connections. Yeah, it's like all these connections, but like he is nowhere to be found.
Exactly what
he's nowhere. And I know that is like so annoying for you.
It's so annoying.
Like I cannot imagine. Characters. I can't, because like even with a lot of my favorite characters, we've talked about how like the MCU we were kind of like just along for the ride before. Mm-hmm. Most of mine are like starting to pop up.
Right.
Like, Sam's got his series. Echo's coming. Yelena's going to be showing up soon. I don't know. She-Hulk is coming. Moon Knight's coming. I'm getting Jane Foster Thor. Sif's coming back. Like, this is my era.
Yeah, this is your era. Meanwhile, I'm like, hello. Give me something. Throw me some kind of bone.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is the time.
I'm not getting my hopes up. I'm not theorizing nothing.
Well, if Wonder Man were to kind of like show up, would you be okay with him in this setting of like the cat world with the street heroes?
Yeah, because he would end up being like the superpowered one amongst the rest of them.
Okay.
And that would give him the reason probably they say like, oh, you can't use your powers too much because you end up destroying everybody down here. So
we love to save a budget.
Yes, a budget.
They want a budget. I'm telling you. So like, I think that's also like why my characters are thriving right now, because I like a lot of street heroes, and it's like you don't need a budget for that. They're not doing nothing.
And when they do get a lot of budget, they end up stuck with like this show, because I will say that action scene with the flying scenes of all of Falcon
He's
is like
good.
really well done.
He's really. You can tell like Mackie is a lot more comfortable on the wires and stuff too. Like
Definitely.
he flows.
He's playing for real.
Yeah, like it's so good to see the fight on the truck with the flag smashers. I was embarrassed. I won't lie. Like I know Steve was rolling around in his grave.
Yeah,
And that's on like everybody. That was on like Sam. That was on Bucky. That was on U.S. Agent. That was on Battlestar. Like y'all got knocked out.
They won throwing. Like
I was embarrassed. That was embarrassed. I did like the move though, where the girl, when she kicked Battlestar off the truck, and U.S. Agent kind of threw the shield to catch him.
Yeah, that was slick.
That was a hot move. Really
Yeah.
into that. Again, action. I'm loving it for this series.
Mhm.
I know this was only 6 episodes, so do you feel like it's moving quick, or do you feel like it's at a fine pace?
I think it's moving. I think it's moving quickly anyway. But the pace is fine. So yeah, I think it's a little bit of both of those. I do think that I either would have preferred, like, I don't know, a movie for these two versus a show. I don't know if I need 6 episodes of this type of storytelling versus if I would have gotten this all in one sitting,
Mhm.
in like a 2.5 hour movie. But like I said, I'm still enjoying the ride. They're kicking ass and stuff. That's fine.
I think I get what you're saying about having the movie and the show. I think I prefer this as a show just because I don't think a lot of the deep dives that we're going to get into Sam's character with like his family and stuff, I don't think
Right,
we've
that's
got that in the
true.
show.
Yeah.
And
That's very
that's
true.
what I really appreciate about that. Again, like, yes, it feels like a big action movie in that sense. And I know, even like, again, speaking about WandaVision, I know a lot of people loved it because it was such a look into grief for Wanda and like a deep dive into that character. I don't think we would have gotten something like that, like, had it been in a movie setting.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
So I'm hopeful that we're going to get into that with Sam and Bucky. Obviously, in a different way. Obviously, we're doing it with Bucky. He's got like therapy sessions. So it's like, we're
Yeah.
gonna see what's going on with him. But Sam's will come through with his relationships and with his family and his friends, and Torres eventually, who I kind of hope becomes Falcon in this.
I kind of want him to too.
I really like him. He's actually probably like my favorite character of the show right now. Like I was saying,
Yeah.
he's fun.
He seems endearing. Yeah.
I really like the
Yeah.
actor they have for him. So because obviously we know Sam's going to become Cap. If Sam becomes Cap and then something happens and he becomes the new Falcon, I'll be happy. Maybe even Eli right now. We'll put quotes.
Do you think that they'll explore more with Eli in this, or do you think that was it as far as the Bradleys go?
No, I feel like I'm cautiously optimistic that we'll go back to the Bradleys. I don't feel like you can introduce that into Sam's life, have him have that type of reaction, and then not at least have him go back.
Go back and have some kind of conversation.
Yeah, I feel like it would be a disservice to his character.
I agree.
Truthfully.
Yeah. They need to have some kind of longer conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like, even if he just sees him in the suit to be like, hey, I'm like, everybody thinks I might be carrying on Sam's legacy, but like also know that I'm carrying on yours as well.
I rest on your shoulders.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that moment definitely needs to happen.
Yeah, I definitely need more of that. But I'm in. I'm definitely in.
I'm into it.
I'm excited for the whatever they do at the big finale or whatever. I bet that fight scene is gonna give. So I'm in.
I'm like, so I don't know. I'm really into like musical scores as
Okay.
well. So it's like I have like so many on my phone that I like listen to when I'm in the gym and stuff like that. And I've just been anticipating the musical score that's going to play during that big final bombastic fight.
Yeah.
It's going on my gym playlist for sure.
I wonder, do you think do you think Bucky's gonna die?
Oh my god! So I was thinking that, like, I had that moment because I was kind of thinking, I was like, so because I guess my thing was after this, what else are you gonna do with Bucky?
Right.
It's kind of like, okay, like if Sam's gonna be Cap, are you going to like he's already the Winter Soldier? He's had his White Wolf moment. They're kind of like I guess putting his character in an arc where he'll finally be at peace. So it's like, do you kill him also when he has peace,
or do you just let him go off and do whatever he wants to do?
Yeah, because especially if he's making a whole case about how he doesn't want to be like the fighter and the killer anymore, it's just kind of like, all right, stop fighting and kill him.
Right.
It's just like, okay,
I guess you gotta be done there.
It's either like he retires or he dies.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna. I think they may end up killing them off.
Just like, yeah, I mean, and then like I think again when you think about it, a lot of the characters who Bucky is close with are dead.
Yeah. He even said it in the show, like, and it's like I only had one friend and he gone. So
like you can't do his relationship with Natasha because she's dead.
She's dead. Yeah. That would have been nice to see on screen though. The two of them.
I'm actually kind of upset with
yeah.
Like just like a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I need to rewatch Winter Soldier. Maybe there was like something I can pull. Did they look at each other?
The fight of them fighting against each other was nice, and that one moment where she was like, "You could at least remember me," was kind of in my own head. It was like maybe a reflection of that relationship, but really it was just the fact that like he had actually tried to kill her before.
Right, just like no, you can have the decency. No, I agree with that. That's one relationship that I really would have liked to see. Like, but no, we got Hulk and Widow instead.
We try to ignore that.
Getting real low.
That was a choice.
But overall, still very much enjoying the show. Still very much invested. Still very much loving all the characters. You know me, I try not to theorize too much because I don't want to get myself too excited about things to be let down. And I just want to, especially with the MCU, I feel like you said, everything in the MCU is a rumor or a theory until it actually happens.
Exactly.
But I'm still excited to see how this. I'm really excited to see how Zemo kind of like turns things around for me, and like what he brings to the dynamic of these two guys who are like very heartbroken in two completely different ways. And Zemo, who is all about breaking down heroes. So it seems like
we're creating them.
Creating.
Hey. I would not be mad at it.
Okay.
All right, so so that brings us to the end of the show. You can find us now online at Another Relaunch. On Twitter, you can find us also on YouTube now. Check us out at Another Relaunch on there. You can email us any of your own questions at anotherrelaunch@gmail.com. You can find me at UncannyLZ on pretty much most social media platforms. Keenan, where can they find you?
You guys can find me at Keenan Lance, so you know there's a little underscore at the end. I'm gonna do the little Oprah thing. All
right, y'all. Let's get them out of here.
Peace.